Welcome back to the Faculty Factory podcast. On today's episode, I'm so happy to welcome you to meet my friend and colleague on the AAMC Group on Faculty Affairs Research and Scholarship Committee, Clara Lapiner. Clara is the Executive Director of Faculty Professional Development, Diversity, and Inclusion in the Office of the Senior Vice President for Faculty Affairs and Career Development at Columbia University Irving Medical Center. Hi, Clara. How are things in Manhattan today?
Hi, Kim. Very happy to be on the show. It's a gloomy day in Manhattan today.
As you know, and as you've been listening, this podcast is meant to develop community and inspire and encourage us as we all try to assemble and gather our tools to help develop and build faculty leaders in academic medicine. And you are newer to this field. I know you are finishing up your PhD. And, how did you get yourself into faculty affairs and faculty development? What's your background?
I think it's been a very fortunate matter of luck. I've actually been in this office for 11 years now. I've been in charge of faculty development for about 6 years. But I think it's just been a very lucky circumstance that I found something that brought together a lot of my passions and interests in the past. So I've always been very interested in health, in issues of social justice and culture and behavior. And a lot of those areas have fallen into this work in faculty development and diversity and inclusion. I can tell you that as I did my undergraduate studies, I was a medical anthropology major, and I really focused on issues of race and also the culture of medicine. I then did my master's in public health here at Columbia, and there I really focused on survey research and burnout and, again, organizational culture and behavior. And I just fell into this profession that I think was really able to, that I think is growing and is developing and is always changing, and really allows me to apply all of these concepts and perspectives that I had in school, developed in school, and gave me the ability to develop impactful interventions that are, designed to support the career success of our faculty in academic medicine.
Wow.
So it's been a very happy circumstance for me.
I just have to apologize and call myself out. I just recognized another one of my implicit biases in that I look upon you as someone who is young and fresh and new. And I think, oh, well, Clara, she's been doing this a minute. And I am so ashamed to learn that you've been doing this for 11 years and 6 years in faculty affairs and development. So this is an important lesson for not only me, but for colleagues out there. Just because someone is young in chronological age does not mean they don't have a wealth of experience. I guess I was thinking when you came on the research and scholarship committee, I thought, oh, here's someone brand new to this space. But lo and behold, check myself. That's another bias I had. Just because you're young doesn't mean you have a wealth of experience. So apologies.
No problem at all.
So describe your office to us. So you get your, now I don't want to make another assumption here. Did you get your MPH and then land in the office for the vice president there at Columbia? Or were you working in that office while you're getting your MPH? What was the timeline here?
It was the latter. I was working in the office. I've had several different roles. I was working in the office and working on my MPH at the same time.
All right. So why don't you describe the office for us? How does Columbia situate its Office of Faculty, Professional Development, Diversity, and Inclusion?
So I think that we have a bit of a hybrid model from some of our colleagues at other institutions. My boss, the senior vice president, has two roles. So she serves as the senior vice president for faculty affairs and career development For the medical center, which includes our 4 health science schools, the medical school, the Mailman School of Public Health, the College of Dental Medicine, and the nursing school. And she's also the Vice Dean for Academic Affairs. So I sort of have functioned in working in all of those different areas. We started out as just being focused on the medical school, and then our office expanded to include programming and faculty affairs for all 4 health science schools. So with that, my scope and my charge has expanded as well. So we have some folks who are entirely focused on our medical school programming and medical school needs, and we also have some folks who are focused on the larger medical center. We have 2 full-time coordinators who focus on faculty development. And we also have conflict of interest in our office, which I think is a little bit of an unusual model. We also have a promotion specialist who works very closely with faculty affairs. And then we have a number of faculty members who also help us with specific projects as assistant deans, associate deans, and advisory deans. But they really focus on specific projects related to faculty development.
Got it.
So it's kind of a hybrid model.
Yeah. 2 things. Number one, why don't you name your boss? And then secondly, tell us more about this conflict of interest position. I don't understand, what is that role and function?
Oh, sure. So, my boss is Dr. Ann Tailor. She's the Senior Vice President for Faculty Affairs and Career Development and the Vice Dean for Academic Affairs. And our fearless leader, who has, I think, been here for 12 years now. And to answer your other question about conflict of interest, I think very often this position is in a compliance office, but we have it in academic affairs, and they are the people responsible for managing conflict of interest disclosures from the medical school, and they also provide guidance to the medical center as well.
Okay. So that's like Office of Integrity. I'm trying to think of the corollary at Hopkins, what that would be. I thought maybe for a second it was having to do with like mediations or like authorship, conflicts in labs or, divisions or something, but it is technically that legal aspect.
Right.
Got it. Interesting.
Yeah.
So tell me, like, I obviously now you've been, there quite a bit of time. How have you seen the office and this programs, policies, and resources evolve for your faculty? And then, tell us what among that, the past years of watching this, what are you excited about, and what's new and innovative, and what's cool you want to share with us?
Sure. So one thing that I really love about this work is that it's always evolving. It's always changing. I think, the needs of our faculty are constantly changing, becoming more specific, evolving as well as our society changes as well. So, I've seen our office go through a major transition. Since Dr. Ann Tailor started here, there was really nothing in place centrally. Some faculty development was taking place in individual departments, but our office was really the first at the medical center to develop these kinds of initiatives. And I think what's really interesting is that we started out thinking about this work in terms of the pathways of our faculty, the traditional educator development, leadership development, researcher development, and clinician development. And this has now expanded so much, thinking about the nuanced needs of all of our faculty. So we've been spending the last couple of years really focusing on the needs of our women faculty, of our underrepresented minority faculty, We've also been thinking about the nuanced needs of our researchers as well. What are the needs of our basic scientists versus our clinical scientists? And we've also really been evolving our programs and initiatives around mentoring, and again, thinking about those specific and nuanced needs of the faculty, knowing that there's no program that's going to fit everybody's needs, no intervention that will fit everybody's needs.
Right.
I think I've heard this term floating around a lot, precision professional development,
right.
like precision medicine, and I think that's really our future in this field, and that's certainly something that we've been trying to do in our office as well.
Yeah, love it. Charlie Irving and I from Vermont, we had a breakout session at the PDC, the Professional Development Conference last year in Chicago, just on that very concept of precision faculty development and how would we do that. And it's such an interesting idea that a lot of people say, well, we're already doing that. We do, work one-on-one and mentor and coach and meet faculty where they are. And yet how do you, standardize that concept of one-on-one and yet have these programs, the seminars and workshops and cohort-based programs and promotion sessions, which historically are geared toward big group efforts or webinars and things and YouTubes online. And then how do you really uniquely tailor these things? So I think it's an interesting idea, and been working since that presentation with Charlie Irving and Martin Feeder from University of Chicago on a piece of scholarship, but it's so hard to wrap our heads around philosophically and theoretically what is it, and then how would you actually do that, and then standardize it. Would there be some kind of standardized tool? And the example I always give is my background is gerontology, and in my postdoc I did a lot of work with the minimum data set, which is the standardized national tool that every nursing home, long-term care facility uses upon intake of any patient or resident in a nursing home. And that's a big comprehensive tool. And I just couldn't help but think, is that what we need to do? Do we need to evolve to like this comprehensive intake, if you will, of a new faculty member and then ascertain strengths and gaps and opportunities for development, and then upon any significant change, like in the nursing home, if there's some significant change in status or functional or cognitive capacity, that there's an alteration in that individual development plan, if you will. Anyway, I'm getting all excited, but you tell us more about how you're developing your mentoring programs and your outreach strategies.
No, I think that's a really great point, and that was also a great session at the GFA. I think our approach has been to develop mentoring programs that are focused on certain subsets of faculty and trying to think about their needs, and also providing them with different types of formats as well. We're all familiar with the traditional dyadic mentoring model, and I think what we're realizing is that does not work in every scenario. And the way that we actually started working on this was we did a deep dive in the literature on mentorship. We also tried to look specifically at differences in mentorship among women and men faculty. And what the literature showed us was that high quality mentoring was essentially one of the biggest areas that there were differences between men and women, and specifically in the types of functions that mentoring could offer. And what we have been focusing on is this difference between psychosocial and technical functions of mentoring. And so the technical or instrumental career functions are around giving advice on professional goals and the development of academic scholarship and networking and career strategies. And then the psychosocial or expressive function was more about having a mentor who will advocate for you, who will coach you, be your intellectual challenger and supporter. And what we found was that women and men were getting different forms of these functions of mentorship, and we started thinking about how do we fill these gaps, and how do we enrich these mentoring functions for our faculty. So we were trying to look beyond, again, the dyadic mentoring relationship, which is often found in individual departments. And at the central level, we started offering peer and near-peer mentoring opportunities. We also looked at the structure of mentoring networks, which we really think are a great tool for faculty to become empowered about their own mentoring relationships, and also sponsorship opportunities, and realizing that different groups, again, of faculty may have different needs around all of these different formats. So so we offer a number of programs that provide mentoring opportunities that are really relevant to all faculty. So we have a series about promotion that's led by the folks who lead our committees on appointments and promotions. And they've been fantastic about working with the departments and working with faculty members to think strategically about their advancement and their promotion packages. We think that the leadership and management programs that we offer also provide wonderful mentoring opportunities, not only from the senior faculty who lead the workshops, but also we try to make sure that there are peer mentoring opportunities within those programs. And then we've been developing a number of different formats of mentoring programs for women and diverse faculty. So we've had some peer mentoring groups for women faculty that focus on specific career paths. And we also recently launched a peer coaching program for women faculty, which really focuses on gender specific issues in the workplace and working together to solve these issues. And I think it's been a great program.
Could you tell us more about that peer coaching program? What does it look like? Just kind of a high level structure of it?
Sure. So it was actually partly inspired by a program that was run at Stanford, and it's evolved into its own thing now, I think. But it's a group of faculty members who submit cases based on issues that they have faced in the workplace. Our office works to rewrite the cases, to make them very general, to make sure that they're anonymous. And then we use executive coaching techniques to help the group work through these cases and develop solutions together. And what we have found to be really fascinating is that we can use the same case, 6 or 7 times, and each group will come up with a completely different interpretation and completely different solutions and strategies using this model. And they're all extremely valuable, and they all provide you with different perspectives on how to address some of these issues.
An example of a case that you're talking about. So let us know what you're thinking about here.
Sure. So one case that always resonates with me is one was called That Was My Idea. So there was a woman faculty member in a room at a meeting, and she contributes to the conversation, and then the male faculty member next to her repeats it as his own idea, and the whole group responds to him and applauds him for his idea. Yeah. And this is something that is not always just gender related, but it is something that is very common It can be based on age, on status, on gender. That's been a very popular one. There was also one case about being at a professional conference and a senior mentor talking about his junior faculty woman mentee and referring to her as that girl.
Oh.
And how as a young woman faculty member, do you advocate for yourself to your senior mentor? And again, that is not necessarily only gender related, but it's about dealing with those kinds of biases, whether or not you should address them immediately or afterwards. How do you think about these types of issues? So there have been a wealth of them. We've had some around authorship issues, work-life balance, and again, they're very broad in scope. I mean, they're not always purely gender related, but they are issues that we find women faculty may experience more often than our male faculty.
So is this
and we always
one-off?
try to.
I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you. I'm just so curious. Is this a one-off session where it's like a lunchtime, 1-2 hour, 1.5 hour workshop, or is this part of a series of this, this peer coaching program? How does this look? This exercise?
I think they have been one-off sessions. So I think in a perfect world, we would love to have a cohort that is followed throughout the year and is able to work together. But we've been trying to maximize the impact of this and the access to this. So they've been individual workshops, and it's often we have a group of faculty who attend almost every single one, and then we also have new faculty attending each workshop. And we try to rotate the cases so that those who have attended in the past are working on new issues as well. But it's really interesting with a new group of faculty in the room every time. It's amazing to see the types of creative solutions and problem solving that they come up with, and they're all extremely valuable. And then we try to follow up and provide them with additional resources to continue thinking about these issues. We provide them with a reading list that's relevant to the cases, as well as additional resources, internal and external.
That's really great. I would love to learn more about that, and we'll have to talk offline. So yeah, peer coaching program. It sounds wonderful. I mean, coaching is becoming so big, and I know a lot of people, we just had on the GFA listserv, I think it was Dan Shapiro. Yeah, it was Dan Shapiro from Penn State sent out an inquiry looking for a list of coaches. So this topic is important, and yet I've not heard through any of these podcasts, and I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure nobody has talked about a peer coaching program. So kudos to you. I hope you write it up, and so we can all learn this model and replicate it.
Thank you. And I should also say, in relation to the email that went out through the GFA listserv, this was actually created because we had a group of women faculty in our Department of Psychiatry, actually, who came to us saying that they really wanted to be able to provide executive coaching to women faculty. And unfortunately, that can be very cost prohibitive. Yeah. When you're talking about a large group of faculty. So we were trying to come up with a model where we could bring a lot of these concepts and techniques to scale. And so this is what we came up with.
Wow. So I imagine you're building a community there at Columbia of faculty members who have participated in this peer coaching program. And then I imagine they would, just like we do at the GFA, there's a listserv kind of a thing that they can contact each other of, hey, calling all, peer coaches, here's a situation. Can I, pick your brain or buy a cup of coffee or, check me here. Am I going about this correctly? Is that the kind of community you have, where people like more one-off, like on their own, personally reaching out to support each other? Or are they kind of like, no, I'm good, I got this, and they're handling things on their own? Like, how do you hear about outcomes or application of what they're learning?
That's a great question. We haven't done a listserv, though I think that's a fantastic idea. We try to make sure that there are networking opportunities during the session, and we encourage them to bring this back to their departments and to help each other use these to use these strategies in their departments when they are dealing with mentees and even students who might be facing similar challenges. But that is absolutely something that we should be thinking about. We haven't done much with that yet.
Yeah, awesome, love it. What else did you want to share with us? Anything interesting, or you're excited about, or you're looking forward to?
Well, I think, as I said, we're really excited about the programs that we have developed around mentoring, and we've been trying to develop similar models that are also nuanced for our diverse faculty as well. And we're now, as you know, Kim, we're now looking to do something similar for our research faculty. You and I had talked a little bit about that offline. So we're really excited about all of these initiatives, and we're also really trying to make, to think about this long term. How do we sustain these programs? And we're also looking at structural issues. I mean, in our organizational culture, trying to think about developing policies and procedures that really help foster these mentoring relationships and opportunities and support them as well. So that's been the big focus of our office recently, and it's been really exciting.
How many faculty do you have at Columbia School of Medicine?
We have about 2,000 full-time faculty in the in the Vagelos College of Physicians and Surgeons. Yeah.
Dr. Ann Tailor is very, very lucky to have you there for all this time and having you serve the faculty with such innovative and creative programming. So kudos to you.
Thank you so much.
All right, folks. Well, this is Clara Lapiner, the Executive Director of Faculty Professional Development, Diversity and Inclusion over there at Columbia University. And I guess that's it for today. I want to thank Clara and thank all of you for tapping into the Faculty Factory podcast again. And don't forget to spread the word and get a hold of me if you'd like to also be on the podcast. Thanks, Clara.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to Faculty Factory Podcast. The mission of the Faculty Factory is to build and support a community of leaders in faculty development who share tools, resources, wisdom, and encouragement in service to our faculty members, schools, and institutions. We encourage you to go to facultyfactory.org to find out more. Get in touch with me, ask me any questions. Maybe you want to be interviewed on the podcast. Thanks for tuning in to Faculty Factory Podcast. We'll see you next time. The Faculty Factory podcast and website is sponsored by the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine Office of Faculty. For more information, visit facultyfactory.org.